So now we want to get some color on these clones, and let's go into our cargo and grab our cube cargo cloner, and I'm going to go up here to Mograph and grab a random effector. All right, and they didn't move because they're baked. Nevertheless, we do want to turn off this position, and we want to turn color mode on. All right, and immediately you see we get some pretty crazy nice colors. And you have about 5 different settings here: add, subtract, multiply, and divide. I'm going to go back to the default. All right, and I'm going to go into the effector tab, and I am going to play around a little bit with the minimum maximum. Okay, and you can drive this past 100%. All right, and then and there's Gaussian, there's noise. Now the noise isn't animated, so if you hit play, you're going to see they change colors, as well as turbulence. They're going to change colors. But if you, let's stay in turbulence because that's some cool effects with that. I'm going to synchronize. Now let's do that out. If you go to UV, all right, and you hit play, they still move. The colors still shift. But if you take the animation speed to 0 while in UV, it locks the colors onto them. All right. And so I want to get in here, and I think it was synchronized. And no, that wasn't. It was more colorful than that. Maybe index 2. Ah, there we go. Maybe index only. Yeah, that's all right. So I'll crank that down a little bit and take that up a little bit. And let's see, back to synchronize. Yeah, that gives me a little more variation. So anyway, you can play around with these different colors and till you get something that you like. So I'm going to stay with that, but we don't want the clones to start out this color. We want them to end up this color, okay? And there's another problem we have here. And that is that the way we're doing this now, the random effector, I'm going to pull it into the cargo, is actually reading internally, changing these color of these cubes. We have no material on there. So the color is the only thing we can use, and it renders fine, but we have no option for reflection or luminance, and that's how I rendered the video to start this tutorial, was completely with luminance and global illumination. There were no lights in the scene, and it's got a cool effect. I don't know if it's great for this, but it's a cool effect, and I want to show how to do that. So in order to do that, let's create a new material. I'm going to drop that right on the cube cargo cloner. It turns everything gray, and we're going to go into the color, and we're going to grab Mograph Color Shader. All right, and so immediately we've got our colors back. Let's activate luminance. Then click this window in color, hold, and drag this to the luminance channel and release. Let's adjust the brightness to 0 and mix strength to around 30. And I may even go back in here and adjust this down a little bit, so a little deeper color. All right, so now not going to see much of a difference there, but let's say you wanted to render it the way I had it. And so put some global illumination. We're going to put this to preview, and we're going to go into the options tab in your render settings, and we're going to turn off the default light. All right, and I'm just going to grab a part of this and render that, and you can see some light coming out, but we have a lot more control now with this. I'm going to click that, and you want to go into your illumination tab, and let's put this at 500% and render that again. And now you really got some light coming off of there, and let's put it up to 1,000, see what we get. Okay, overkill probably. Let's go back to 500. We'll leave it there for now. I'm going to turn the global illumination off and the default light back on. All right, and we're going to move to the next step. And the next step is we don't really want our clones to start out colored. We want them to start out white and end up reflective and colorful and round. So let's go into our random effector, and we're going to change the fall off to linear. All right. And you see right away something changed. And the thing with the linear, if you haven't used this, this is the beginning of the change. This is where the change is just about complete, and definitely it's complete between these two. But these are infinite, okay? These are like the floor object if you've used it. These go up in infinity, go out in X and infinity. The only place it's not infinity is Z, and I am going to take Z and actually expand that. And you see as I expand that fall off, it's changing more of those cubes. So we'll put it to there. And if I take this and drag it through, it's going to change all those cubes until it gets to the colors that we had. Okay? Beginning colors. But that's not how we want to affect it that way. We want to affect it this way. So if we get our rotate tool and rotate this 90 degrees, all right? Now everything's white. And if we go back to our selection tool and I start dragging this through, boom, you start seeing those clones changing. And that's what we need to do, okay? Now, you can leave it down here. It can be anywhere because, like I said, these are infinite. I'm going to actually pull it up above because we got a lot going on down there already. And it's going to work just the same here, okay? All right, and I'm going to pull it to right about there, all right? So what we are actually going to affect, even, let's go ahead and, I think we're still baked, aren't we? Command, yes. I'm going to pull this through, okay? And look, nothing's changing, okay? Even clones that are on this side of that fall off are not changing. And that's because if I grab this, the line cloner, you will see these little dots here. It should be showing up everywhere. Yeah, they're there. All those little dots, that's really where the clones still are, or at least that's where they're still going to be affected in this cloner. Once they become dynamic, they kind of become rogue or something, I don't know. Anyway, so that's where we're going to have to affect these clones. So if I come back here, I am going to get my random effector, and I'm going to just move this a little. And yeah, it says Z, but we're actually going to move it in X. Okay, so I'm going to move it back here. And that's where I want to put a keyframe. And I hate that I have to keyframe this, but I've not figured any other way out to do this. And so I'm going to go all the way down here to, because I want the effect to take place when they get to here. I want it to be done. Now you can have it wherever you want, and it's going to be the same basis. Okay, so now I want to move this fall off all the way to the end, and right there. Let's back it up a little. All right, so right there, it looks like it changes completely. All right, I'm going to hit a keyframe, and we're still going to have to make some adjustments, but I want to go in here, and I don't want this soft interpolation. I want a hard interpolation, okay? So let's go back to the start, and you can see what's happening. Our color is shifting upward, and that's because we have to change the start of when that starts moving. All right, and let's go, actually we want, I think it was about there. Oops, it shouldn't be dumping. I'd say about there. Okay, and what I'm looking at are this first set of clones, and they're already colored. So that's at 185. So if I take the start and drag that back, I'm going to have to drag it back a lot. Let's hit S to frame everything. And I should be able to pull it just about to this playhead. Yeah, that's starting to change there. So I'm going to pull it back just a little bit. All right. And so now all our clones are white there. And, oh, we can just pull it through. We don't have to play it. So let's just watch right there and see if they kind of change right by the 5 right there. If they all change in about that position. And it looks like they are. Yeah. I went back. Oh, it's a little late. A little later. We can move that back. Let's back this up. And let's make that change by then. Okay. All right. So that looks pretty good. All our clones are falling away. And we've got that set up. I just want to run this through real quick. Make sure that everything is still changing about that same position, and it looks to be, especially if I go fast. Okay. So the next step is we want to change these cubes into spheres. So I'm going to pull a copy of this, and I want to make sure that we got 6 subdivisions, segments, which we do. And I'm going to hold, let's see, I need hold shift down and go into your deformers and grab the Spherify. Okay. All right. And let's come up here and we want to grab this and we want to take that down a little bit. I think maybe around 43, maybe 44. And we want to give it 100% so that it turns into a full sphere. All right, so what we want to do is we're going to change our cloner from iterate to sort. You're going to see them all cubes again, okay? And I'm going to grab a Mograph Effector, a plane effector, while I have that selected. Oh, and they did jump that time. And we are going to deselect that. And we want to pull that in. I'm going to pull it under the random effector. And I want to check the fall off. I have it. Let's make this. Better not change that. No, that won't matter. We'll change it to 160. I just want it to be a straight number. And I'm going to change the fall off for the plane effector to the same 160 linear, 160 in Z. And with that under there, I'm going to go to the coordinates tab of that plane effector, and I'm going to zero out by right-clicking these 2 little arrows, and that should do it. So now, if I remember right, I think we have to get rid of the dynamic, but we'll try it with it. What could possibly go wrong? But in here, the parameter we want to change is modify clone, and let's pull that all the way to 100%. So now, when they get down here, they should start turning into the spheres. But I think what's going to happen is they're going to pop back up here somewhere. So let's hit play. Oh, we're not even going to get that far. Okay. So let's go back to, and let's give that a second to refresh. And okay. So let's go to Command D and let's just clear that cache. And then it should refresh. Yeah, everything's fine now. All right, so we're going to have to just go through this and watch. It's going to be a little slow. And so down here where our clones change color, they should also turn into spheres in a perfect world. And the moment of truth, and we have a perfect world. And now we have spheres. Okay, and what the sort's doing is when you use the modify clone with the plane effector, what it's doing is it's choosing the second clone in the hierarchy. So it's choosing the sphere. It could be anything. It could be, and you don't have to use the Spherify. You could have, you know, what do you call it, the torus in there, or cones, or whatever you want. But you know, that works nice. but you can have anything. The dynamics are kind of the same, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, okay, so that looks good. So wow, we're getting there. So there's one other thing I want to show you. I want to go into the Cube Cargo Cloner and grab that dynamics tag and just disable it. And then I'm going to go in the layers and just hit the this is the generator tab in the layers. I'm just going to click that off. And if you remember, and the reason I just want to be able to watch up here, if you remember, as this comes across, you see the spheres kind of pop on quick, which for this really doesn't matter because we're not seeing them, we're not up close on them. But I do want to show you, since we have this set up the way it is, that you can make this more gradual. So let's take a minute here, but what we want to do is take our cube with the Spherify Deformer, and let's just copy it. Let's see, oops, oh. 2, 3, copy it, make 5 total. Okay, so we have our main cube at the top, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So go to the first Spherify and set that to 20. The second one to 40. The third to 60. And the fourth to 80. And of course, just leave the last one at 100. So what happens is the plane effector, when this cloner is in sort mode, it finds the very next clone, okay? And so what it's going to do is it's going to go through all of these over the course of this fall off. So if we go through here now, let me come in close, you'll see that there is a much more gradual transition. You can almost see the cubes start to round off, and then the sphere, it finally turned into spheres. So it doesn't just pop on. And that's really nice, like if you're going to be doing a close-up on something that's a more gradual transition. So I just wanted to show you that, and go back to our layer, turn our generator back on, and I'll just close that up. Go back to our dynamic tag, enable that, and I think we'll be back in business. And yeah, everything is good. So let's move on to our bottom belt. So let's get our other belt out, the B belt. I'm going to turn everything on, and I'm going to drag that down to here. And I think I'm going to make it a bit smaller so we don't have as many clones. Oh, and I also want to grab the controls right now. Oh, they're selected, so I will add to HUD. Just click and grab, oops, command, and drag it over. Okay. And so the length, it says width, but it's really the length. Yeah, put it 1620, or somewhere around there. And we'll pull that up a bit, and might have to make it a little wider, but oh, forgot to save all or show always. Okay, and I'm going to put a polygon in here. You're going to need a backsplash for this thing, so I'm going to come down, put as a child of the belt the B belt rectangle, and make that I think plus X, and that should be good to go. Let's see. Nope, it's not. All right, for some reason. Plus Y again. Nope, plus Z maybe. Yeah. Drag, oops. That's okay. Drag that out. And we're going to put that right up against the edge of that and pull that out a little longer. Okay. So I also want to throw this on this polygon to color that, and we'll throw it on this polygon we just added. I'm going to pull that polygon out. I'm going to add a simulation collider tag, and that's all good, but we don't want that much bounce, 0. And we need to make this belt dynamic. So we want this to be moving mesh and all, and 0 on the bounce, and we probably want about 150 friction and put 0 on the collision. So let's go into top and take a second, and okay, if you hold down, I've got new elements in there that are not part. You hold down Control and drag that onto B belt, and we probably want to do the same with the cargo onto the cargo. We haven't put A on a thing yet, but we probably won't. So let's go into rotation and just rotate it a little bit, and that should do it. And go back F1 and pull this over, and we're going to have to pull it up, and that looks pretty good. Alright, and I don't think it needs to be any wider. No, looks like it'll work. Okay. Okay, so I want to bake this again. So we're going to Command D, and I will be back when this is done baking. Okay, so let's see what we have. I forgot to speed this up, but that's all right. We'll take a look at it. And okay, well, actually, yeah, they're getting jammed up a little bit there. Yeah, kind of flying all over the place. Okay, so we're gonna have to do this one more time. I'm going to Command D. I'm going to clear this cache. I'll go into the cloner, and we want to increase this to, let's increase it to about 15. I'm going to bake this one more time. Command D, and I will be back when it's done. So let's see what we have here. Run through here, and it looks a lot better. Everything's coming off the conveyor on this side of this white line, which is the clone marker. So, let's set up our little cup, the thing that holds them all at the end. And this is all optional, of course. And we probably need a radius about like so. Caps, I'll leave those on because we're going to need a cap on the bottom. Pull this down a bit, and the height doesn't look too bad. I may need to make it a little higher, and I'm going to pull it down. Yeah, let's go on the top. All right, and we might want to increase that radius just a bit. Okay. And I think that will do it. Go in here. Let's convert the cylinder by hitting C, then go into polygon mode, then hit UL to get the loop select tool. You can delete that. Go into point mode just in case. I don't know. There is some one point for sure. That was center one. Okay. And let's go ahead and I want to go ahead and bring that into belt B. And I'm going to actually drag that down again so everything's selected in there. And I want to hold that down, hold option down, and go up to simulate cloth, and we're going to give that also a little width. And go in there, no subdivisions, and probably be positive. Yeah, it looks good. And throw this material on there. Select the cloth tag, go down to Simulation Tags and get the collider body. Go into the Collision tab, down to Static Mesh. Set the bounce to 0 and everything else looks good. Reset the playhead and let's go into the bake and clear the cache, and I'm going to bake this one more time. Yep, check everything. Okay, so I'm going to bake this and I will be right back. Alright, so let's see what we have. The bake is done. And run this through here. And alright, looking good. Okay, oh, we lost one there. So let's take a look at the whole thing. Well, if you stayed with me, I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was long. So till next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.